don't like spoilers and you haven't watched the race and you want to, do not watch the rest of this video because there are plenty of spoilers and I'm going to talk about the race and round it up. The title fight in full swing, lots of farewells as well, Jenson Button, Felipe Massa, and of course some drivers leaving from one team to another like Kevin Magnussen, leaving Renault to go to Haas, and of course you got Nico Hülkenberg leaving Force India to go to Renault, so you know, even more farewells as well. And for Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton, of course, going for the championship with Mercedes, only one can win, and a podium finish was enough for Nico Rosberg to secure a championship. This meant that even if Lewis Hamilton finished first, Rosberg would have to finish fourth or lower. This has actually been the longest season ever in Formula One history. So, as for the start, Hamilton did lead. Verstappen had some contact with Hülkenberg, so he spun, stayed out of the barriers, really great skill, but there were some yellow flags with Kevin Magnussen, who did have a bit of an issue, and then he actually had to retire. It's actually his last race with Renault, so unfortunately for him, he did retire. Early on in the race, Lewis Hamilton pitted for soft tyres, Ferrari were responding, and it really looked like Ferrari had some great pace, and Red Bull were actually being a bit of a threat, and that could really get in the way of Mercedes, but also Red Bull and Ferrari fighting against each other. So there was a battle at the front of the field, and that was good to see for once. I mean, although we have seen it and everything, but you know, Mercedes still is the faster car, but it's just good to see, you know, 4 other cars trying to, you know, get in amongst it all. Jenson Button then retired. Of course, he is taking a sabbatical, so another goodbye to him. I don't know if he's going to be coming back in 2018, but he had a failure. He said something failed on the car. It happened today of all days. You can't change the past, live in the moment, and go and get a cold beer. So really think Jenson Button has, you know, been an incredible driver in this sport, and he's been in it for a very long time. It's been a pleasure to watch him race, and I wish him the best with anything that he goes and does within his career and life. And yeah, it's a shame that that happened in the last race. He did go over the curb. It looked like it damaged the wishbone. Talking about retirements, Kvyat also was out, and talk about his season just starting in a Red Bull and ending on a bicycle. I mean, he's had such a roller coaster of a year, talked about it in so many of my videos, but you know what, he gets another chance next year in a Toro Rosso with a 2016 Renault, no, sorry, my mistake, 2017 Renault engine. This year they've been running a Ferrari engine, which was from last year, so it's a fresh, clean, new start, and hopefully he can show exactly why Red Bull chose him to begin with, and they are not, you know, really pushed with all these reliability issues and problems and things like that. So it might have ended on a bicycle, but next year he does get a Formula One car, so that is a bit of an upgrade, especially with the engine as well. I also forgot to mention, let me know your driver of the day in the comment section below. Always ask this at the front of my videos, but this time I just wanted to make sure that if you haven't watched the race, you don't get the spoilers and things like that. So a big fight between Red Bull and Ferrari, as I mentioned. Also, Romain Grosjean was not happy with Carlos Sainz, who sort of pushed him wide and then was just banging wheels with him. But Carlos Sainz was everywhere in this race. Actually, Jolyon Palmer, Jolyon Palmer tagged him and kind of sent him into the corner, and had a bit of damage there as well. So Sainz actually said that his gearbox wasn't working, and Jolyon Palmer got a 5-second penalty, and Sainz had to retire, which is a shame because it wasn't really his fault, but Palmer did get a penalty for 5 seconds, which was added to his race time. The fight was really on at the front of the field. So you had Hamilton, who was leading, then you had Rosberg, and then you had Verstappen and then Vettel. But Vettel was flying. He went up to P4, and then P3 he overtook Verstappen, and then Vettel was behind. He was on the tail of Rosberg. And Lewis Hamilton was sort of backing up the field, so he was going a little bit, I guess, slower, even though Formula One cars are very fast and all that kind of stuff. He was sort of backing the field up, and he got a radio message which said, "Lewis, this is Paddy, we need you to pick up the pace to win this race." which rhymes actually. And then Hamilton went, I'm in the lead right now, I'm quite comfortable where I am. So he was disobeying the team orders. Of course he wants to win. I can see that he wants to win, of course. He also is probably thinking in his mind, if I back the field up, you know, Rosberg needs to finish P4 or lower in order for Hamilton to win the championship. So Hamilton wants to win this race, but at the same time, if he backs the field up, then, you know, if Vettel and Verstappen both overtook Rosberg, then Lewis Hamilton would be the world champion. So I don't know what you guys make of these team orders and, you know, Hamilton disobeying them, but I can see what Hamilton is thinking here. But at the same time, it's not ideal for Mercedes. I guess, you know, they want to win 1-2 anyways, but at the same time, they don't want damage. You know, it's still a race. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. I mean, Vettel tried moves on Rosberg, but at the end of the day, very close to the end of the race, I mean, it was Rosberg that finished P2. That was enough for him to seal the championship. We saw some great moves from Rosberg, and he is the champion, and congratulations to him. I think it is well deserved. At the end of the day, whoever gets the most points is the champion, and it's incredible that, you know, his father, I think it was 34 years ago, won the championship. It's just a really incredible thing to see, and we have a new Formula One world champion, and that's super, super exciting. So, yeah, let me know who your driver of the day was, and let's just go through the other standings as well very quickly. Also, the first time, according to Twitter, the first time a German has won in a German car for the championship. So, with the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes obviously sealed the championship beforehand. Red Bull on 468 points. Ferrari, they had to settle for third, 398. Force India did secure fourth in the championship, which actually, in terms of the amount of money the teams spend per point, Force India have actually spent less money, if that makes any sense, per point that they've spent, which means they have actually been the most efficient team of any team on the grid when it came to budget and spending and the points that they got. That's really impressive. That's amazing. Anyway, so yeah, congratulations to Force India. That's the highest championship position that they have gained as a team. And then Williams, P5 in the championship, 138 points. So there has been quite a big gap between Force India and Williams in the end. It seemed like it was going to be very close, but I mean, the points margin is pretty big. And then McLaren, Honda, 76 points. Then you got Toro Rosso, 63. Still very impressive because the Toro Rosso had last year's Ferrari engine. And then Haas, really incredible season for them so far this year. I mean, this is the first season they've had in Formula One, and it's amazing to see how many points they've scored. Renault obviously coming in as a new, like a works team, 8 points for them. And I have to be honest, it's really nice to see that every single team on the grid has scored points. Sauber scored 2, Manor scored 1. Unfortunately for Manor, it did knock them out of 10th place in the Constructors, but it's nice to see that every single team has scored a World Championship point. As for the drivers, it was only 5 points in it, but Nico Rosberg did have the advantage, and of course he has driven a great season, and he's got the points, and that's what matters. That's Formula One. He has won, and I'm really, really excited. Genuinely, I'm excited about the fact that we have a new world champion. It's great to see, and the whole thing with his father as well. It must be very, very special for him, and of course his wife and his new daughter. So Lewis Hamilton second, then came Daniel Ricciardo, 256 points, then Vettel and Verstappen. Really, really has just been incredible, Verstappen, this season. Remember, he started his season in a Toro Rosso. And then Kimi Raikkonen, 186 points. And then Sergio Perez, 101. Really, really incredible for, I'm sure, Sergio Perez to break the 100-point barrier, margin, whatever you guys call it. And then Valtteri Bottas P8, Nico Hülkenberg P9, so both the Force Indias in the top 10 for the drivers' standings. Then we got a huge list. So we got Fernando Alonso 10th, 54 points, just 1 point away from Felipe Massa, who got 53. Got Carlos Sainz on 46. Then Romain Grosjean 29. That's a solid effort by Romain Grosjean, considering that Esteban Gutierrez actually scored 0 points. And then you got Danny Kvyat 25, Jenson Button 21, 7 for Kevin Magnussen. Again, great effort by Kevin Magnussen, who of course is going to be partnering Roman Grosjean at Haas. You've got Felipe Nasser, who scored 2 points for Sauber, which was enough for them to be 10th in the Constructors' Championship. You've got Pascal Wehrlein with 1. Stoffel Van Dorn also has 1. We're going to see him next season. I'm super excited about him being on the grid. And then you've got Esteban Gutierrez with 0 points. And then finally, you've got the other page with Marcus Ericsson, 0 points, Esteban Ocon, 0, who's going to be in that Force India. Hot talent to look out for, and Rio Haryanto also on 0. We don't know what's going to be happening at Mana next season. But if you like this roundup, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I make videos about Formula 1 all the time. There's going to be lots coming up during the winter break. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the season finale. I definitely did.